This is the story of our life at this house. This is what my future bedroom looks like. Previously on Quebec Homestead, we made a beautiful table for my kids out of a whole bunch of stuff that we had. I take a lot of pride in the fact that we try to do a lot of things ourselves. If we don't have a product, then we'll try to make it. If we don't have a material, we'll go harvest it in the wood and do it ourselves. If you've been following us for a little while, we do use a lot of recycled materials to build our constructions. It's not always the most beautiful, but it works. But this table ended up really beautiful, and in the last video we tried to melt down some wax, because I know that there is a certain beeswax mixed in with something that you can treat wood, right? And so I did a few searches on Google, and today what I'm going to be doing is treating my table with beeswax. And I found a simple recipe on Google. It's like, I don't even know why I didn't do that search before even trying yesterday, and we're gonna get that done. So, and I actually have a few other things that I can treat with it. So I have like cutting boards, I have my kitchen table, and I have this beautiful nook area painting nook that I did for my kids. So that's what we're gonna do. All right, so first things first, I got all my beeswax in a pot with some water. I filled up probably like 2 times as much water as there is beeswax, and it's generally clean. Actually, there's not, because it's the first year, so I don't have like really old combs.
That is bee.
Yes, that's honey. But she brought me the honey. That is the honey. Thank you so much. Thank you. You can put it back. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna melt this down, and supposedly all of the melted wax is going to float to the top and the water is going to sink to the bottom. So that's going to be the first step. So I'm going to come back when it's a little bit more melted. All right, so the melting process is happening, and what I'm doing is I'm just pushing all the wax underneath the water so that it all melts. And it is getting there, but I need to wait until it gets to a clearer state. Everything, all the pieces have to be melted, and of course the spoon that I'm using gets a little bit full of it every time that I mix it in. So I have this knife with me, and I just plop it back in. You don't want it to boil, so I'm just going to reduce the heat so that it doesn't boil, because it is on high. I'm just going to plop everything back inside the water, just like that. Alright, so this is the tricky part, I guess. Trying to make it not boil. I turned off the heat. You have to come up and scoop with a colander the yucky stuff that's on top. So the yucky stuff on top looks like this, and I'm just going to come scoop it. This is what it looks like. So now that we have all the yucky stuff out, it sort of looks like this. There's not too much of it because I don't have a lot, but what I'm going to do is now I'm just going to let this cool. And all the wax is going to form on the top, and the water is going to go on the bottom. So judging from what I see, I know already that I'm going to have to come in for a second cleanup. There's a little bit of stuff still on the top, but I just can't pick it up because my colander's too big. So I'm gonna let that cool, and I'm gonna come back to remove the block of wax, and then we're gonna start over for the second cleanup. Alright, so it's been about 4 hours and it's been cooling, and this is the result it gives me. So there's still, you can see a little bit of you know, yucky in there. There's, look, I think there's a fly in this one here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna scrape this off with a spoon, and I'm gonna pour this yucky water out, and I'm gonna start over to try to get all the rest of it out. Pretty cool. Yep, that's right. I got new hair. Ben really likes it when I have short hair because he thinks I look like a bum. So I had to take a little break from doing that little concoction with the beeswax because Ben was banging upstairs. How does it feel to use the wood that you milled?
Feels awesome.
Yeah. So I stopped that day and I figured I'd come back to it. But I wanted to show you guys what we're doing upstairs because like I mentioned in that video with my sister, I don't show my house very much because right now it's just a construction site upstairs and it's a mess. Like honestly, there are toys everywhere. But what we're doing here is we are setting up a wall and we are going to put our room here. Our room is back behind that door here and it's just way too big for what we need. Like all we do in our room is to come and sleep and, you know, possibly rest during the day, watch a little TV, but that's pretty much it. So we didn't need all that space. So what we're gonna do now is set up a wall here and we're also closing up our bathroom upstairs because it's completely you know, an open space. So when you go to the bathroom, there's not a lot of privacy. In my room, what we're gonna do is we're gonna probably set up my YouTube studio / music / studio. All the electronics will go there. Maybe a little family room. Maybe we put our plants there too, because we do have a lot of stuff in our entranceway that we want to bring upstairs to clear that out, to make it a little bit more épuré. What's épuré in English? To make it more
open space.
Yeah, less cluttered because there's just a lot of stuff. It's a very busy space in my entranceway right now. When we got here, we got all the plumbing installed. This is actually going to be just a place where I put all my blankets and stuff. And so that's just going to be a closet. And then we have the door here. Boop, boop. We didn't want to frame in the door because, you know, if we're going to bring in a bath in here or something, you know, we just wanted to have that space. So the plumbing is done here for a shower or bath. We're not sure exactly what we're going to do yet. And then we also have the plumbing for a, you know, for all the toiletries and stuff. And some lights, fixtures, a toilet. As you can see, it's completely opened up.
It's a freedom toilet.
A freedom toilet. And this was the space where the kids would play, but now like we just moved everything around so we can build the wall here. This is all wood that Ben went and milled up a couple weeks ago. And
it's all balsam fir.
Fir, yeah, all fir. So that's what we're doing today.
Closed when we start this loop on repeat. Hear my chest, how it beats when you put your hands on me. Time goes fast, but yet so slow. I leave all thoughts, yeah, I let them go. 'Cause I'm here with you.
I wanted to show you the disadvantage of having an old house from 1886. All right, so this is the corner of the wall, okay? Look at the line on the ceiling. You see how that line there gets a little bit wider and then a little bit smaller? Well, that's because the room and the house is crooked. See that? It's pretty apparent right there that there's the line there. And you have all that space. Well, that is because on this wall here, if we would have put it straight right on the line, it would have shown right away the space here, and we didn't want to have that show. What it gives us is a wall that sort of goes like this, all the way back. This is the story of our life at this house. You cannot work with a level. You can sort of just go with how it looks. Time to pick up the toys and empty this room. All right, this is what my future bedroom looks like. There's a whole bunch of holes here because when we first got here, the electrician passed a few plugs in here so that we can have some electricity. And this side isn't done yet, and so we're gonna put some drywall up here and do that next week. Today I'm just gonna go finish doing my treatment for my little table that we built because the kids are drawing on it. Alrighty, I'm back in the kitchen, and this is what I was left with last time. So I have this wax that is floating on top of water. As you can see, it just floats right on top. So I'm gonna go for a second clean, and I'm gonna start this up at high for it not to boil, but I want it to just melt on the top. Do as I say, not as I do. I stepped away to do a community post on my computer, and I came back and I was like, oh crap! I forgot about it and it boiled. So it's really stinking hot. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna strain it through a cheesecloth to see if this will do a little better than, because look at my strainer from last time. It's like not cleanable. I'm not gonna be able to use this for anything after. Maybe if I put boiling water on it, maybe that'll work, but for now it's just like nothing will go through. So I'm gonna strain this. Still trying to figure out what I'm gonna put it in. But I'll be right back and I'll show you. Well, it turns out it's not that bad. Since it's really hot, it sort of melts whatever is left on my strainer. So I'm just gonna go like this and scoop out the gunk and hopefully get it all. I guess it's a good thing that it was so hot after all. I hope it doesn't affect the end result, but that's, anyways, that's my mistake. So it's just, see all that gunk that's coming out? I'm just gonna continue doing this. I might make a total mess. This is really the first time I do this, but to what I understand is that the wax stays on top of the water, right? So it floats like we saw. So if I need just a little bit to do my product that I'm making today, I could just pour it in here and it should be only oil, wax, right? So I'm gonna try it. So it looks like there's still water in here, but it's gonna take a little bit less time to cool down than this whole pot, and this is pretty much all I need for what I need to do today. I think there's a little bit of water, but not a lot. I still need to let it cool, I think, just to make sure. I feel like I'm dirtying so much stuff with this wax. Alright, well, this one is cooling, and I just scooped a little bit out with a spoon. I tried to do it like in a bain-marie sort of thing in this rice cooker, so it's gonna get a little hotter. I don't know if you can see that. You don't see my big face, huh? Boop! Alright. So I put this in my rice cooker in a bain-marie, so it's in water. It's gonna melt, and then I'm gonna add in my oil afterwards. But now I need to go sand down the drawings that my kids did on the table before treating it. I'm gonna go see if I have a tool. I used to have a little mouse sander, but it's broken. So I'm gonna try to see if I have another tool that I could use for this, because man, my arm is like so tired. But it's still melting in my rice cooker, so I still got some time. Alright, I found my little thingy. It's in French it's called a utilise. I have no idea what it's called in English. A sciating tool. I don't know. Oh my gosh, I feel like this is gonna be crazy. So I had to change the container that I put my wax in because it was too small and the water was trying to seep into the to the container. So I just have it in a little bain-marie here. Just really gentle heat, because since I'm working on the table and sanding it a little bit, I didn't want to have it boil, because I sometimes forget it. So now it's completely melted, and I'm going to add in the oil, which is canola oil. It's just simple canola oil, and it's 5 parts oil for 1 part melted beeswax. So I'm gonna pour this all together and mix it in. I think I'm gonna be ready to remove this from the heat and let it cool down before I use it.
This is cool.
You put some on our cutting boards now. You can protect our cutting boards too. Isn't it nice?
And we're gonna do this with everything.
Well, it's a little sticky though. I mean, maybe by the time it'll dry, it'll be better. But
did you notice that the kids put
yeah,
blue sand here?
I saw that. I think it looks really good. Very satisfied with that. Yay! So you can't wait until it gets too cooled down. You have to use it when it's still hot, and it works really good. And it's not too sticky on the hands. I think once it dries off on this surface, it won't be too bad, but I think it'll give it a little bit more protection for when the kids draw on it. And it might be a little bit easier to clean off, but at least I know there's no harsh chemicals on it, nothing. It's all natural. It'll give the time for the log to dry out as well too, because it's not fully dry yet.